A patient of mine this week was diagnosed with osteoporosis. She had a bone density test done and the results scared her. Her last bone density test from 5 years ago showed that she had osteopenia. Now, osteopenia is bone loss, but not enough to really make the bone that fragile. She was concerned that over these past several years that she was trending in a bad direction. So I had a conversation with her. I want to let you know some important facts that you need to know about your bones. To be diagnosed with osteoporosis, it means that you've lost upwards of 30%, if not more, of your bone mass. Now, the problem with this is that it leads to fractures, most commonly in the hip if you fall, your ribs, or your low back and your spine compression fractures. These are complaints that can be problematic as well as life-threatening for many individuals. She was concerned that she'd lost so much bone in the past few years and didn't know why. When she had her first bone density test done several years ago, she was just getting into menopause. And over these past several years of having menopause, with having a decrease in estrogen, the bones don't respond well, don't remodel, and a lot of women can end up having menopausal osteoporosis. Actually, 3 out of 10 adult females in the United States will be diagnosed with osteoporosis. Menopause is not the only cause, but it's the highest cause. Some other factors you need to be concerned for your bones are smoking, eating disorders during puberty, digestive issues that will lead to individuals taking either proton pump inhibitors or antacids because the body can't assimilate the calcium in a stomach that doesn't have enough acid. Bad eating habits, not exercising enough, and actually multi-pregnancies and long-term breastfeeding. When a woman has many pregnancies as well as breastfeeds a lot, it suppresses estrogen in the woman, and so that bone can't be laying down. If you are being concerned with osteoporosis in your family, I highly suggest you have a DEXA, that's a bone density test, prior to menopause or right in the time when you start to go through menopause. Those first 3 years is when a woman is going to lose her most bone. Now, insurance companies don't like to pay for these tests. Most insurance companies won't authorize and pay for a bone density test until a woman's 55. Most women have already gone through menopause. A lot of facilities do not charge a lot of money for these tests, and I think it's important information for you to have, especially if there's osteoporosis in your family, grandmas, moms, aunts, siblings of that nature. Having that baseline and knowing where your bone health is as you are making that transition will give you a better idea of what you may be looking for or looking to be a problem in the next several years. My patient had been a vegetarian for a long time, but had been taking a lot of calcium supplements as well as eating a lot of green vegetables, which are a great source of calcium. We did talk about a bone formula. There are several companies that make them, Garden of Life, Jarrow, and others. What a bone formula is, as I like to use the analogy, if you're making pancakes and all you have is flour, your pancakes aren't going to be very good. But if you have Bisquick and water, you're okay. So what a bone formula is it's Bisquick as calcium is flour. You don't just need calcium to make bones, you need other cofactors, magnesium, vitamin K, as well as others, vitamin D. In most of these bone formulas, you're gonna have the right ratios of all the nutrients so that you're gonna feed yourself the raw materials. We also talked about the potential use of E3 estriol. It's a hormone replacement, fairly harmless. It's actually breast protective as well as bone protective. She's going to go down to the Santa Monica Homeopathic Pharmacy and talk to them regarding that nutrient, that supplement. What I'm hoping for is that by supplementing her with a little estrogen in the form of E3, that's going to stimulate those bone cells so that she can get some of those nutrients into her bone and hopefully move from that osteoporosis level back into that osteopenia level. Well, of course, we'd like to see all her bone density come back, but what I told her is the first thing we want to see with her is we don't want her to lose any more bone. The more bone she loses, the more chance she's going to have that a fall or a twist or an accident is going to cause a fracture, and we want to save her bones from having that. So first goal, don't lose any more bone. We talked about her putting herself on this program and probably having her another DEXA, another bone density, in about 12 months. And again, what we want to see first is no lower. We'd like to see it creeping higher. The best way to treat osteoporosis, though, is to not get it. Females, males, but females, you put your most bone down from the time you go through puberty till your late 20s. So making sure that you're exercising, smoking's terrible during this time, eating appropriately, weight-bearing exercises. It's the weight and the force that the bone remodels to. All these things being done in your late teens to early 20s are going to help you reach your max bone peak density. And then from there, the more you put on, the less likely you are to have significant loss later, and then you're not worried about osteoporosis. So for all of my women that are out there that are entering that menopausal area, think about having the bone density test so you know where you are. All your daughters, all the women who are in your 20s, please think about making sure you're eating nutritious foods, including green leafy vegetables. Green leafy vegetables are a higher source of calcium than your dairy. Also, green leafy vegetables are going to have your magnesium in it. We don't get enough sun these days. A lot of us have vitamin D deficiencies, so getting enough vitamin D is also going to be important to make sure that you are, again, laying down that bone. If we can keep you healthier there, you're less likely to have these issues in the future. Have a great weekend.